PG 23 Summary. Notes print. Leave a comment. Summary. In this chapter, we examined income multipliers. We started by defining the term income capitalization approach. Then we contrasted and compared multipliers with capitalization by dividing by a rate. There was a discussion of the types of properties that are appraised as residential income properties. A distinction was made between the appraisal of 1-unit properties, 2 to 4 units, and more than 4 units. Gross rent multipliers were defined and their rationale discussed. A sample problem was solved. Various kinds of rents were defined and illustrated. Gross income multipliers, both potential and effective, were defined and contrasted with gross rent multipliers. A sample exercise was solved. Now, on to the chapter-ending quiz. Click here if you would like to open this chapter as a PDF, which you can then print or save to your device. Chapter 14. End of page. Chapter start. 82%.
Residential sales comparison and income approaches. Chapter 14, income multipliers. Page 24, Chapter 14, ending quiz. This quiz has a total of 7 questions. There will be 1 question per page. You must achieve 80% to pass this quiz. Start quiz. Number 1, a ratio of 1 year's net operating income provided by an asset to the value of the asset used to convert income into value in the application of the income capitalization approach is the definition of A, discount rate, B, capitalization rate, C, compounding, or D, multiplier. I'm going to go B, capitalization rate, just because we were going over that this chapter. Number 2, a rate is the blank of a multiplier. A, negative, B, variant, C, reciprocal, or D, codependent. Reciprocal. I don't remember this one. Number 3. A property sold for $118,000. Its contract rent was $700 and its market rent was $800. What was the GRM? A, 133.6. B, 141.9. C, 142.3, or D, 147.5. I believe you take the sales price, 118,000, enter, and then instead of the contract rent, you go with the market rent. Then you put 800, divide. It says 147.50, so the answer is D. Number 4, the most probable rent that a property should bring in a competitive and open market reflecting the conditions and restrictions of a specified lease agreement is part of the definition of blank rent. A, contract. B, actual. C, scheduled. Or D, market. I'm going to go D, market rent. Because it sounds similar to market price, like the definitions start off the same. Number 5, an apartment building has 20 units rented at $900 per month and 14 rented at $1,050. What is its gross income? A, $32,700. B, $124,800. C, $356,250. Or D, $392,400. I'm going to go $392,400. Number 6, a fourplex has 2 units rented at $1,200 per month. One at $1,350 a month, and one at $1,400 a month. What is its gross income? A, $5,150. B, $55,500. C, $61,800. Or D, $72,400. I'm going to go $61,800. And lastly, number 7, GIMs are employed with the blank gross income streams. A, effective only. B, potential only. C, effective or potential. Or D, effective or scheduled. I'm going to go C, effective or potential. I don't remember that one, so I'm just shooting in the dark. Assessment completed. Finish. Wow, you passed. You got 100%. So remember, number one, a ratio of 1 year's net operating income provided by an asset to the value of the asset used to convert income into value in the application of the income capitalization approach is the definition of. You said capitalization rate, and that is correct. That was a question that came up in a quiz earlier, and you got wrong, but you just remembered it as the cap rate. Sounded real fancy, but it's just capitalization rate. Number two, a rate is the blank of a multiplier. You said, well, you actually kind of guessed reciprocal, and that was correct. The reason I went with reciprocal was because variant didn't sound like it fit, because it sounded more like a fucking COVID disease. Negative just didn't seem like it was like a minus to it. And codependent didn't seem adequate as far as like a word. But reciprocal did sound something fancy that would go with that. So remember, a rate is the reciprocal of a multiplier. You should actually look up that word and fucking study it. Number three, a property sold for $118,000. Its contract rent was $700 and its market rent was $800. What was the gross rent multiplier? Same basic formula. You take the contract price, the price that it's sold for, and then you always go with the market rent, not the contract rent for the gross rent multiplier. And you divide it by that, and it kicks you out the 3-digit point something. And you said 147.5. That was correct. Number four, the most probable rent that a property should bring in a competitive and open market reflecting the conditions and restrictions of a specified lease agreement is part of the definition of. You said market rent, and that is correct. And the giveaway for that is it's the same beginning to the definition of market price. That's like an easy way to remember it. Number five, an apartment building has 20 units rented at $900 per month and 14 rented at $1,050. What is its gross income? What I did, simple, that's basic, pretty much multiplication. You take the 20 units, you multiply it by 900, and then you multiply that by 12 for the yearly max income for that year. Store it in a register. Same thing with the other one, the 14. Multiply it by $1,050. Multiply that answer by 12, and then ultimately recall the first one, add them together, it gives you $392,400 for gross income. Same thing with number 6. It was a fourplex. Use that same formula. You said 61,000 and you got it right. Number 7, GIMs are employed with blank gross income streams. You kind of guessed on this one. You said effective or potential, and that was the correct answer. So I'm assuming it's referring to that formula works with like theoretical potential income streams and current income streams for like effective. So just try to remember that. Continue.
Help. Documents. Email instructor. CH15 Income Capitalization Approach. Single Unit Properties. PG1 Overview of Chapter 15. Notes. Leave a comment. Overview of Chapter 15. In this chapter, we will examine the income capitalization approach for single unit properties. Even though the majority of single unit houses are bought for owner occupancy, there are occasions when you will appraise single unit homes that are bought for investment. The GRM approach is the particular procedure that is utilized. We will look at its strengths and weaknesses. GRMs will be calculated and reconciled through discussion and examples. We will address some methods of statistical reconciliation. We will look at the appropriate section of the QRAR form for completing the income approach. The single-family comparable rent schedule form will be introduced and detailed. This form is usually required by lenders when appraising a single-unit investment property. End of page. Chapter start. 82%. Help. Documents. Email instructor. CH15 Income Capitalization Approach, Single Unit Properties. PG2 Learning Objectives for Chapter 15. Notes. Leave a comment. Learning Objectives for Chapter 15. Upon completion of the chapter, participants will be able to summarize the strengths and weaknesses of the GRM approach. Demonstrate how to calculate the mean, median, and mode of a series of GRMs. Summarize the single-family comparable rent schedule form. End of page. Chapter start. 82%.
I said earlier, the GRM approach is deceptively simple. You just take one number, multiply it by another, and there you are. Of course, the trick is getting the right two numbers to start with. We also said the GRM approach is typically reserved for 1 to 4 unit properties. More complex income-producing properties are typically valued by capitalizing the net income into a value indication by the process of dividing by a capitalization rate. That topic is the subject of many other courses and is beyond the scope of this course. Despite its inherent simplicity, the GRM approach will produce a credible indication of value if applied properly. GRMs will be the subject of this chapter.
Help. Documents. Email instructor. CH15 Income Capitalization Approach, Single Unit Properties. PG4 Homebuyer Motivations. Notes. Leave a comment. Homebuyer Motivations. Investors approach real estate with a different mindset than an owner-occupant buyer does. A homebuyer is swayed by the niceties and amenities of a house. They are driven by their emotions. They are attracted by many intangibles such as color schemes, lighting, view, etc. Homebuyers paint mental pictures of themselves enjoying their home. They can visualize sitting in front of the fireplace on a winter evening or leisurely putting their feet up in the lounge chair on the patio on a lazy summer afternoon. Other motivations for buying a home might include the feeling of safety and security. They will have a place to call their own and be able to entertain company or friends in grand style. End of page. Chapter start. 83%.
Investors generally take a more cold-hearted look. They really don't care what color the building is or what style it emulates. A typical investor looking to purchase an investment property has a narrow focus on the income and expenses. How much rent can I get? How dependable will that income stream be? What expenses will have to be put out to maintain and operate the property? And most important, how much profit can I make? Of course, investors have other concerns beyond the pure profit question. Ancillary issues, but also of an economic nature, including tax considerations and anticipated future appreciation of the property. Smart investors also understand and appreciate the fine points on financing. Many investors bank on being able to leverage their financial assets by borrowing most of the purchase price. Through the use of such leverage, they can buy and control more properties and thus maximize their financial investment. Investors also look down the line to the time when they will ultimately sell their investment and recoup their assets. As we said before, investors are concerned with the return on the investment